What's up, studs and studettes? This is kind of a big deal. This is a big episode. This is probably something I'm not sure I saw coming, but this is episode 100. And
Boom!
I reached out to a really big mentor of mine, somebody I look up to a lot, months ago about, bro, will you be my 100th episode? Made that proposition to him, and I'm sure he forgot about it. I was like, bro, it's coming up. Let's get you on the schedule. And but I got Ryan Stewman on today, previously known as the Hardcore Closer, and I'm super excited about this because, as most of you know, one of my core values is continually evolve. And I'm not sure a lot of people who have been following the Apex world, following Ryan Stewman, understand the transition he's been able to make over the last 2 or 3 years from the Hardcore Closer to Ryan Stewman. And I'll tell you, if you've been watching, there's absolutely no doubt that that transition and that focus and that restructuring of his brand has paid off dividends on dividends. If you've just seen how Apex has grown, how his brand has grown, just the people he's around, it's been incredible for me because I joined Apex middle of 2019. So I'm in my second year, going on my third year. I'm an Apex executive coach now, which has been great to kind of progress through the ranks of Apex and, work closer with Ryan. But the biggest thing I want people to take away, and I hope you can understand this, is this man spent 10 years building what he thought he was supposed to be building, realized that it wasn't his true mission and calling, and immediately took massive action. And it did not do anything but help everybody around him. And I think so many people are afraid to make that change, make that adjustment, change that mindset out of, well, I spent all this time building this. I don't care what this is. If you're not feeling it, if you're not in it, it's not sustainable. And I think that this story kind of really wraps that up and kind of shows the power of the transition. So, Ryan, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to be here today.
Well, first off, congrats on doing 100 episodes. Like you and I, we've done an episode before. So this is our second time, my second time on here. And I almost always tell people, you're not one of these people, but like when the new rookies hit me up, hey, I just started a podcast. I'm like, cool. When you get to episode 100, hit me up, and 0% of them ever hit me up. But I knew you were going to, because you were at like 90 something at the time when you hit me up anyway. Yeah. Plus I know you. So I was like, shit, he could be at number 2 and he's going to get there eventually, Yeah. So congrats on that, man. I think I read once. Well, I know I read once. I don't know how long ago it was and if the stat's still true, but the average podcaster quits after 7 episodes. So you've put in 93 more times the effort than, a regular motherfucker. So that's got to feel something too.
It does feel pretty cool, to be honest, man. I didn't know where this was going to go when I started. It was just, I'm going to stay consistent to the cadence for as long as it fucking takes. And here we are, episode 100.
I can tell you from personal experience, I don't know what the fuck I was doing either, and I just, like you said, stuck to the cadence. I got 2, once a week and once a day. And I don't know why in the fuck I kept doing it, Mike. Like I ran out of shit to say after 7 episodes, and I'm on like 7,000 episodes or something at this point. I don't even know. Realistically, it's close to 1,000 episodes on one and 300 or something like that on the other one. And yeah, shit, I ran out of shit to say after the 7th episode too. But for some reason, just like you, I kept doing it, And now's when, what we were discussing before, now's when the good shit happens too. Because once you have 100 episodes, iTunes is like, oh, fuck, this guy ain't quitting. He's not one of them, and it starts to find your, let's say if the bots are out and they're looking to cycle some of the stuff and distribute and syndicate some of your podcasts, they're going to look for podcasts that are in the top 200, podcasts that have over 100 episodes, podcasts that have been around for a couple of years, right? So that they can get attention to their website. So now's when the good shit comes. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about see where this transitions, especially, I'm taking a real intentional approach to getting on more podcasts, which will drive this, which honestly, it helps the guests as much as it helps me, right? Like I can get better guests when I'm averaging 500 downloads a day right now. Like that's more appealing to somebody who's actually worth talking to, not knocking any of the previous guests. Like I don't want to hear the DMs on fucking people, but like when you're growing an audience and the audience grows, more people are interested in being a part of that. And like, I want to level up the guest quality as well, right? Having guys like you on, like if I was on episode 100 getting 5 downloads a month, like you probably still wouldn't be very interested in getting on, so I'm excited.
Yeah, that does give you some play, and you say, hey, and we get 500 a day or whatever that is a month. And, you know, that's like putting somebody in literally a room full of people every day for the rest of their life, you know?
Yep. Yeah, that's the coolest part because it's so evergreen, right? Like, you know, I'm getting downloads on like some of my first podcasts, and it's like, it's just, you're impacting somebody for the first time, even though that was recorded 2 years ago. And it shows, man. It shows how people grow that relationship with you and grow that know, like, and trust factor, and like really get to know you as a person. Because I've changed and I've grown over just the last 2 years. I'm sure, like, if you listen to some of your first podcasts, like, that fucking kid didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
No, man. And I don't go back and listen because I don't want to be embarrassed. I would be like, hey man, we got to take this shit down. Right. Like that's who I was at the time. And really that's like a beautiful thing, Mike, is somebody can go back. I think I did my first podcast in 2011. So somebody can literally go back to 2011 if they were fucking weird and listen to all my shit and literally go through the evolution. They got an opportunity to evolve alongside of me in real time. That's fucking crazy, you know?
Well, I mean, and that's kind of the thing I really want to talk to you about, because I don't think you've shared a lot publicly as much as you have in Apex about the intentional transition you've made kind of into the Ryan Stewman holistic, you know, the G code, and, you know, your faith has really become like a front line. And I know that's not new just based on the stories you told, but talk a little bit about like, what was the deciding factor for you? You spent 10 years building the hardcore closer. It was everything. It was your mantra. It was your book. It was the name of your podcast. Like, it was just who you were. Like, what was the deciding factor that you were like, I need to change this, or I'm being called to change this? What did that look like?
Well, you know, like I'm still in a sense like closer or hardcore closer. That's always going to be a nickname, but for a long time it was an identity. Not There's a difference between, you know, the nicknames that people have, like, oh, that's the hardcore closer or whatever, versus like an identity is like, I am the hardcore closer. But if I'm just to be real, and I know there's going to be people that fucking need to hear this real bad. Man, I was embarrassed as fuck of where I came from in life. You know, I'm, you know, at 19, I was in prison. And by 2005, I would have been 26. I'm making 700 grand a year. By 27 to 28, I'm back in prison. I get out, I blow up. I become one of the top fucking mortgage guys in the world. I get married. I lose my mortgage license. I get a divorce. Like, fuck me, man. What a fucking shameful, embarrassing fucking past. Like, if you were to say, like, what are a bunch of fucking, the only thing we're missing in that like period of time is like something, my uncle touching me or some shit. Like, we're just missing molestation. Everything else fucking happened to me, right? Like,
you were a country music album. You weren't even a song.
Yeah, exactly. Shit, I'm a discography, goddamn it, right? So I'm one of those sets like they used to sell late at night on infomercials, right? But I was embarrassed as fuck of that, right? And I knew two things. I knew that if I went out and, hey, I'm Ryan Stewman, blah, 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 the internet was getting bigger. It was going to be pretty easy for somebody to hate on me or point out that I was a felon or whatever. And I was like embarrassed. So I created this mask. One day somebody called me the hardcore closer at the car dealership. And I thought, that's a cool fucking name. I'm going to register that as a domain. And then like a couple months went by and I just happened to get my hands on how to build website material. So I thought, oh, well, I got this domain. I'll build this website. And then I thought, you know what? I get to, you know, Stephen King is probably, that's probably not his real name. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's probably a pen name, right? We know that a lot of people go by that, like J.K. Rowling, that's not really her name, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, why can't I just do that and be this online persona? Like 2 Chainz isn't really 2 Chainz. The dude graduated summa cum laude from fucking high school and shit like that, or whatever it's called, right? Mm-hmm. Valedictorian or whatever the fuck it is, right? I didn't go to school, so I don't know what these things are. But
he was real important.
Yeah, exactly. But like, that's not his name, you know, and that's his identity. And when he's on the mic, he's this fucking trap house, gold teeth wearing gangster, shoot your mama motherfucker. But like, I know the guy behind the scenes. I met him once. He's like the most nice, polite. He's just like me. He's like this nice, polite fucking guy, right? And so I'm like, why can't I do that? Right? Well, nothing's stopping me. So I'm gonna put this, what I call a mask, right? I'm gonna put this mask that's gonna mask who I am, and it's gonna mask my past identity. and it's going to become who I am. And when I pick up the phone to make a sales call, when I step in front of the video, when I get on a podcast, when I write a blog, when I do any of that shit, I am the hardcore closer. I'm not Ryan Stewman, motherfucker that been to prison, motherfucker that failed in divorce, motherfucker that make money, lost money, make money, lost money again because the damn government and me can't seem to get along. Like I wasn't that guy. I was a hardcore closer, a dude that one thing that was true about me is I've been the top producing salesperson in every fucking job I ever had. So I took that identity. I got rid of all the other shit and took that identity of the baddest mother and had the plaques to fucking prove it and everything else. So I took that identity and I ran with it. But here's the problem. You know, about a year into that, this guy, Jordan Belfort, shows up with this whole Wolf of Wall Street hookers and blow thing. And it's entertaining as hell, right? But it kind of took what I was doing to a level I didn't really want it to go, but that was the trend, so I had to go there. And I also didn't want to work with just salespeople because a lot of salespeople that will pay for sales training in reality they don't have money, right? But I wanted to work with bankers because bankers are salespeople, and I have been a banker, a mortgage officer, and I wanted to work with them because A, I understood their business, how to market it, close it, all that stuff, and how to streamline it the way that I'd done it. But B, I'm selling sales stuff, but really I'm helping them get more loans, which is what they want. Because I realized that if you tell a salesperson, hey man, you need sales training, that's like telling a dude you got a little dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like you get naked with the chick of your dreams and she's like, that's all you got, partner? And you're like, man, every hope and dream you ever had shattered, man. It kills your ego, right? And so I understand that. And so I worked with these bankers and eventually worked with some realtors. I did shit with celebrities and all this stuff back then. But about 2017, man, I realized a lot of those people are doing shit like the Wolf of Wall Street people. They're doing drugs and everything else. And hey, man, I'm not the drug police, right? You do you. And if you're functioning, if it works and it's not causing you problems, if you want to do cocaine or whatever, fuck, that's your business, right? I'm not the DEA. It's not my job to enforce what you do in your life. But it's also not my job to, promote that for you or hang around or want to be associated with you. And it was running pretty rampant through the group at the time. And everybody's really good about keeping shit from me, right? Because they know I get emotional and don't handle things. I handle things out of passion sometimes and love, and it comes off as fucking anger and hate. And because I don't have a friendly voice, they'd be like, he was mean to me. I was like, I was trying to tell you I love you. But anyway.
The only thing angrier than your voice is your eyebrows.
Yeah, no shit, right? And so, and this is after Botox, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't go to Botox to look young. I'm like, stop making me look angry. Like raise this shit so I look surprised or something. Anything's better than fucking angry. So I got this problem. And then two of my clients at the time, it was called Tribe, right? So the original Apex was called Tribe. And I had two of my clients got into it over a real estate deal. And over $60,000 real estate deal, right? Like, fuck a bad Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Like in all reality. And it was so bad that everybody just fucking toxicity and everything else. One dude came in here to my office and recorded me. I didn't know he was recording me. I thought he was in here to like fight or something. And we got into it. And then he was like, this is how Stewman talks to his clients, just manipulative shit. And all of them believed him. And so anyway, long story short, I'm like, man, I won't do business with any of these people anymore. They definitely didn't want to do business with me. And there was people, Mike, that would go on fucking Facebook Live burning my shirts. Like, you got to be a crazy motherfucker. Like, I get it, you mad at me, but that's real fucking weird. Like, you fucking Selena fan. Well, I got to worry about you murdering me outside my house now and shit, it's fuck. So anyway, it was just weird, but I knew why. Hey, because I'm the hardcore closer, dude that's been to prison, dude that's been top producer, and I'm showing you that you can smoke weed and do drugs and still be successful, because that's what me and Jordan Belfort have fucking done in life. And I thought, well, goddamn, that's the worst fucking message I could be trying to give to people when I want to change their lives. And as crazy as it sounds, I went and did some drugs. I went to Utah and did ayahuasca to try to figure out what the next move was. Because here's a company that I was taking home. It was only me and two other people, and I was making $3 million a year. So it's not like wasn't making any money, scratch the brand. It's like, fuck it. 3 million ain't something you just like turn around and don't, and fuck off. That's real money, or at least it is to me. It definitely fucking was back then. And
No, that's real money. I don't think anybody here is listening like, oh no, that's not enough.
Yeah. And like I said, that's not gross income. That's fucking my income from this project. I don't have employees or none of that shit. And so I'm like, I take this trip through ayahuasca, and basically that's how I came up with the G code and some other things, right? And I came back and I'm like, all right, dude, I gotta, I just gotta be Ryan Stewman. That's who I am. I'm here to help people become the greatest version of themselves. The problem I had with the banking and real estate industry, when that was who I served exclusively, which we still have bankers and real estate agents, but when I served them exclusively, the problem was I was helping them level up in business and they would make more money. But money is a magnifier. If you have an addiction, if you are degenerate, if you don't have integrity, if you don't have honesty, if you don't have those values already, then when you level up and you get more money, the demons or whatever you want to call it come out. So a motherfucker go from broke, he's the greatest husband of all time. Now all of a sudden he's making 40, 50, $60,000 a month. He's, fucking strippers and doing blow and all these things, right? Sleeping with the other clients and shit like that. And that wasn't serving me. It wasn't serving them. And so, man, when I came back from this trip, I'm going to become Ryan Stewman, and I'm just going to prove people that I'm not going to talk about weed no more. And I didn't smoke weed for like 2 fucking years to get this shit back on track, man. And I still never talk about it, like on Facebook or any of that shit. And go in there, and I'm going to, create a system to where I can get people to really level up and track themselves. And like I said, I had the G code, and then I eventually wrote the book and the app. And that book, and this as an author, that book is literally what made the big difference between me writing all these sales books. It was like sales book, marketing book, business book, sales book, sales book. And then G code shows up, and everybody went,
First fucking one ever. Oh, of course.
Hey.
What's up,
Welcome
bro?
back. Yeah, hey, welcome back.
All right, brief internet issues, but we are back talking about salespeople, hookers below, not the lifestyle Ryan Stewman wanted to live.
Yeah, and honestly, when I came up with the Apex thing, I needed to build something bigger than me. I needed something that wasn't reliant on me. In other words, I don't want to be the center of attention in the program, and I wanted to be the CEO and a leader, but a part of the community as well. And I watch these other guys and they build things after their names, like Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and even Jordan Belfort and Zig Ziglar and all these people, and I wanted to build something that didn't represent me. It represented something bigger than me, and I watch how our church operates, and in the church, people are celebrating something bigger than the preacher. It's God, right? It's Yeshua, it's Jesus. And, I thought, we can build that same community. It's not a religious thing, obviously, but we can build that same community here where people are helping each other and they're looking out for each other. Because if you look at a church, really what it is people have the same goal, right? To advance God's kingdom, right? They're going there to help the community out, to help each other, to pray for one another, to feed the poor, to do these things, right? And I thought, man, I can build a network where people can come and be a part of a network. And if you need a loan, there's lenders. If you need a house, there's real estate agents. If you need a plumber, there's plumber. If you need somebody to overlook a document, there's lawyers. If you need somebody to go and order some blood work for you, there's doctors. Like, I wanted to truly build something that represented like a network of everybody, man. And at first, like anything else, it's like, isn't he just the sales guy? Right? It's like, no, I'm bigger than that, right? And I came up with the force of average concept and the G code. But what happened was, it wasn't until I wrote the G code book and released that force of average video that people started viewing me differently. I didn't just start saying, hey, I'm no longer the hardcore closer. I released this force of average video and people are like, oh shit, what kind of sales stuff is this? And their fucking minds blown that I just explained how the algorithm on this planet works, right? They're like, where the fuck did this guy come from? But what you motherfuckers don't know about me is my dad, when I was young, my stepdad, he got someone knocked our door, Mike, and sold him some encyclopedias, back in the day, right? Before Google, the way this I would have made the coldest encyclopedia salesman ever, right? He would have been my sales pitch, right? I would knock on the door. Hey, what's up, Mike? How are you doing today?
Oh, great, man. Nice to meet you.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm here with encyclopedias. You have children?
I do.
Awesome. Let me ask you a question, right? What's 2 to the 6th power?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine, right? What's the capital of Iraq?
Don't know.
Man, but you value your kids, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you think they know the answers?
No.
Well, I can make sure that your kids are as informed as possible. I've got a stack of books with all the answers they need right here. And you can ensure that your kids won't experience the ignorance that you just shared with me, Mike.
That's cold as shit.
Right? I put the little spin to be funny at the end, but that, shit right then and there, I'm sure however they sold my stepdad, he's like, oh, fuck, I'm an idiot. I better buy these. But then
what happened, Mike, to prove you wrong. I'm not stupid.
Then a couple of days later, he must have got buyer's remorse, right? It's like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Now I got a bunch of books I'm not going to read that I paid $100,000 for, or whatever it was, right? So he did like what any asshole dad would do, but it worked out to my benefit. But he's like, boy, I bought these books and you're going to read them and write a report on these motherfuckers every day until you've gone through every one of them and you can't go outside. I'm like, I didn't even do shit. How am I getting punished here, right? And if you don't do it, I'm going to take the belt to your ass. So I read every goddamn encyclopedia we had and wrote book reports on it. I am the fucking plethora of useless fucking knowledge because of that, So, but I don't know what 2 to the 4th power is either, I'm guessing. So, but anyway, so here we are.
Yeah, it's
Encyclopedia Smart building a church called Apex. That's what we're talking about now.
I mean, it's impressive to see, because the G code came out less than a year ago.
2020, right before the pandemic.
Yeah, so about a year ago. But you've been at this for so long, and it seems like the last 12 months since that book came out, like everything's changed. I mean, like you went from 12 members and Apex executives to 140. You know, entrepreneurs has grown, entourage has grown. These Apex live events. You have more people at one single Apex live event than you probably had in the program for 2 or 3 years before that. And what do you think it is that gave you so much relatability to all these people? Because I mean, I'd say a lot of people can, but many won't be able to relate to prison and drugs and divorce and everything else. So you have a wide variety of people in the room. Is it, in your opinion, is it just your confidence and self-love allows other people to be confident in themselves, and like that kind of makes them break away and get involved? Or why do you think it's worked so well, I guess?
Well, I know why it works so well is, you know, I gave, like, right now, you know, there's people that have hammered down on their beliefs on either mask or no mask, for example, based on what political party they align with, right?
Mhm.
And but they don't really want to represent Democrats or Republicans. They're just forced to because their amygdala keeps getting stimulated, right? Right now, it's like it's hard to really represent something because there's, like, at any minute somebody can say something that offends the masses or whatever. But I think the thing that we have here, two things, is I'm probably the most honest, transparent person that I've ever met, you know, and I really just don't have anything to hide. If I don't want to talk about it, I would just tell you it's none of your business. And but I'm not there's no hidden dirt. Like when people quit, they're not going to go around going, "Oh, he's not who he says he is," and they're not doing what they say they do. It's not the case, you know. And I know that people are broken, you know, they're angry and everything else for the last 4 or 5 years, especially. And so what I created is something that they could belong to, man. So first it starts with, you already know, man, but there's going to be so many people that miss this. But first it started with a mission statement. So like we have Apex. And what does Apex mean, right? We're not the only Apex out there. You can't even trademark that word because it's just one word that's used by a bunch of companies and stuff. So how do we make our Apex stand out, right? Well, first of all, Apex symbolizes the top, right? And so our mission, in order to get to the top and stay at the top and work with top talent, top members, is that we represent what winning looks like at all times. And so when I started preaching, hey, if you're Apex, don't be in your goddamn pajamas in the airport. If you're Apex, don't be fucking, you know, with your goddamn hair rolled up in the fucking school line. You represent what winning looks like at all times. People know you. People know who you are. People know what that logo means. People know that you're a part of this, and you never know who's seeing you, who's filming you, who's going, that ain't Apex. They're not representing us. You were like Vidal Sassoon. If you don't look good, we don't look good. You know, and people started buying into that. They're like, that's something I can get behind. I represent what winning looks like at all times. That makes it so simple. You know whether you're winning or losing. And if your focus and mission in life all of a sudden is to represent what winning looks like, you start carrying yourself a little bit different. Winning don't look like fucking pajamas. Winning looks like someone who took a shower, got clean breath, their fucking nails clipped, their fucking hair done. Like, that's what winning looks like. You know, the only time winning don't looks like that is when you're leaving the gym and you're sweating your fucking ass off because you won in that motherfucker, right? And so we start putting that in there. Then we created the core values of like what it really means. So the mission of this network, but then what it really means is, number one, we put the network first, right? If this thing's going to work, we got to put each other first. This can't be I'm going to join this program and take. And I think that's what separates us a lot too, is people join other programs thinking they're going to get a bunch of business and take a bunch of business. Whereas we teach, hey, join this program and give your ass off. It will fucking come back to you. Give out leads, hook our network up, and it will fucking come back to you. They will notice, I promise. Number two, we do the work. I don't want a bunch of people making excuses on why this shit didn't work when there's people like you that obviously have proved that it fucking works very, very good. Next, we live by the G code, because if we're going to represent what winning looks like, we got to do it in our grateful mindset, our genetics, our grind and job, and the group of people we hang out with. And then we are givers, right? So again, that's a generosity factor. I think that we're most like God. It sounds crazy, but we're most like God when we're generous, because God's given us everything. So if we can give somebody else something that we have, that's when we're most like God. And then the last core value is we are Apex, right? That symbolizes that we are winners at the top of our game. And man, when I start preaching this stuff and drilling into people and they're like, hey, I'm a part of something that means this shit, and I'm fucking proud of that. I'm not a part of Ryan Stewman's inner circle, and it means that I'm one of his fucking flunkies or minions. I'm a part of something with Ryan Stewman or without his fucking ass that means we're going to win. I'm here with something that means that we do the work and we live by a code and all this shit, man. And man, when what happens is I gave people a blueprint and a plan to follow with this stuff. and their friends see it. Cause we don't run ads, Mike, you know that. Their friends see it and their friends say, hey, Mike, you lost weight and fucking you're at 100 podcasts and, you know, people are starting to pay attention to you and share your shit. I see you wrote a fucking book, man. What the fuck is that all about? And you're like, I joined this Apex program almost 3 years ago and I did exactly what everybody else in there was doing. It turns out I'm getting the same results they are.
And the power of the social proof is something you've done better than probably anybody I've seen from where it comes from, like a group. Because like you basically just gave away your game plan, like the build your machine program for anybody's in, like that's just like Ryan Stewman's track to success. And like
it works.
And it works. And you know, I joined originally in 2019. It was as much about learning how to grow a coaching company as it was learning sales and social media and content creation. Because I had like a decent baseline of a lot of that stuff, and I've definitely learned some of that. But you're like transparency and like, this is how I got here. Like, if you're willing to do the same fucking work and spend 13 years and do 7,000 podcasts, you can have it too. And it's like, people just don't believe it can be that simple, but it really is. If you like have anything to say and you say it consistently and believe in it, you're going to build an audience. You're going to build influence. It's going to take time. It's not always going to look the way you think it's supposed to. But even in just your network, like as you've leveled up, because you were part of Arte as well, but even then, like the Fleischmans and the Wagners, all these people that you like went after, I want to get into this next level. And you did it and just following your own game plan. Like you're the same somewhat AKA strategy you've had forever.
Same shit. Just playing at a faster, higher level, you know?
Yeah, that's it. It's like
I started off picking up trash in the back of my F-150 and now I got a dump truck, you know?
Yeah, it's you know, it's been for me as somebody who is trying to create influence, is trying to help people, and it's been incredible being a part and following the journey, because I mean you kind of laid the path, and it's like I'm not afraid to like, you know, steal like an artist and, you know, make it all my own, right? Like, you know, it's all made my own some way, shape, or form, but if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Well, I mean, the biggest masterminds in existence from, you know, even the one that Russell Brunson and Tony Robbins have, I helped Russell Brunson structure that shit years ago, you know, Arte, Lions Not Sheep, 100 Million. Those are all me help, because I've been doing this longer than all of them. And so I help them. It's like, hey, you guys are helping people. That's a part of my mission. My personal mission is to help as many people as possible become the best version of themselves. If I got to do that through Sean Whalen, through Ed Milet, through Andy Frisella, through Dan Fleischman or Aaron Wags or whoever the fuck it is, again, that's what I'm doing. So, you know, it's a lot of people have modeled this because I'm the person with the most experience doing this shit at this point. You know, a lot of people give it a riff and then shit on it after a year or two because it's not as easy of work as people think it is. But I don't know anybody who's had a consistent mastermind for 11 years like I have.
No one lasts that long. They don't want to continue to put the work in and build it and evolve it. Like, it's not the same.
I would like to point out, I'm sorry to interrupt. I would just like to point out 11 fucking years. I'm not on the ripoff report. I'm not on the salty droid. I don't have fucking hate shit. Ryan Stewman's a scam artist fucking letters about me. I don't even have a goddamn 1-star review except for this one bitch who got mad that we didn't require mask one time. Like, but do you know, like, I just want the audience to hear this. Like, this is the not easy part. Do you know what it takes to fucking run a business with that clean of a fucking track record for 11 years? Do you have a fucking clue? Some of y'all fuck up the very first deal you do as soon as you open the doors to your business, right? Like think of how much fucking pain and suffering I've had to go through at the hands of fucking greedy clients or people. Think about it. I told you I just had a bunch of fucking drug addicts in 2017 that I had to fucking cut ties with. And somehow they still didn't leave me bad reviews and shit because I'm a fucking good dude and I blessed everybody on the fucking way out. I took care of everybody. And it wasn't a, hey, you're a drug addict, get the fuck out of here. It was a, hey, when we made the shift, people that weren't representing what winning looked like knew that it wasn't their turn to be in there anymore.
Well, it's hard to throw rocks when the other parties kind of held up their end of the bargain. You can try, it just doesn't stick.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously Apex has grown. It's I agree with you. I think at this point we're a part of something with Ryan Stewman, not part of, no, we're not following Ryan Stewman. We're a part of this organization. And I've been blessed to be an executive coach and kind of see it from the inside a little bit, which is amazing. But as the brand has started to almost surpass you, which I think it kind of has at this point, what's next? Like, where are you headed now? Like, how do you continue to push that mission and get so many more people involved to be able to pour into more, you're growing a pretty large team. You have a lot of layers now. You have a lot of people that have to kind of carry that torch. How do you continue it at this point? How do you make it grow at this point? What's your vision for what's next?
Well, there's two benefits to our Apex program, or a few benefits that really help. Like, what I'm trying to do is curate organically people within their network to replace me. Let's say it takes 100 people to replace what I'm capable of doing. And what I mean by that, okay, obviously I'm not capable of doing 100 people's work, but what I mean by that is I have 11 years worth of blogs, videos, podcasts, all this shit, right? It might take 100 people fucking doing the work for the future to catch up to what I've done, okay? And that's what I'm getting at here. And finding those 100 people, I'm not going to go to the outside world. I'm looking for people just like you that come in my program that, you know, you show up for 6 months and you want to be a coach. I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Right. Cause that's just not what this is about. Like, I'm looking for someone like, once we get you, you know, once you're trained up and you're in our coaching program, Mike, you know how it is, man. I don't want to lose you. I want you to be with us forever. Right. I want you to grow your business right alongside my business. We're doing them together, and I'm helping you grow your business. You're helping me grow mine. It's a win-win situation. Right. And so somebody that's been in 6 months, I haven't even had time to judge whether they're worthy of turning over my highest, most best clients that pay $50,000 or more dollars a year to these folks, right?
Yeah.
We have to vet people's businesses and everything else. However, the beautiful thing is, because of the amazing executives we have, as we add more people in there, we've got folks that can step up and will step up into that coaching role, as you know, that we discuss in our coaching meetings. So the next goal we have is 2,500. And we are at 1,200 now. And so our attendance will be 2,500. That's 250 executives, which is only 100 more, which is about 10 more coaches roughly. You know, it's crazy to even say that, Mike, because you know me pretty well. And maybe online, when people see me say that I'm winning at something, they might be like, he's bragging, but they don't even know that, like, I never even post 100th of what we're really up to, right?
There's
like
a lot of stuff that you don't talk about.
Yeah. And like, most people don't realize that we have, you know, 10 fucking coaches on the back end, and then another 5 entrepreneur coaches that are helping. And then we've got leaders in the community that we take care of, plus the fucking 20 employees that I have here. They, you know, they don't realize that this is a real business. This is a machine that's like, you know, we got full on media team, full on social media team, full on, I mean, we MCs for our events. We have event planner working for us full time. I mean, this isn't just some, hey, we think we're going to throw an event. We know what every venue and every event that we're going to have all the way through next year is already this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, and so we built something to last, you know, and people, they have no idea, but I can tell you this. And I told you in 2017, it was $3 million, right? $3.5 million. But like, because of what we've built now, like, we're doing more than that, like, on a regular frequent basis. I don't know, throw it out there too much, but it's a fucking lot, right? Like, that's like a, you know, short period of time now, which used to take a year. And because we've got this stuff dialed in, you know, and so here's the big thing that, if you're listening, that I would say to take away from this is, like, maybe you built a nice business, nice size, decent, middle size, good income business for yourself, but you're not really fucking feeling it anymore. You thought you were feeling it, but the customers are wearing you out, and you realize it's not just fucking not worth it or whatever. Man, I'm not telling you to throw all that shit out in the window, right? But you can do what I did and evolve into something that grows bigger. And those people will. I didn't just one night show up and say, all you motherfucking tribe people got to kick rocks. These Apex folks are coming in, right? It was like, hey, we rebranded this thing into Apex, and here's what that means, right? And some people did not identify what that means, so a few show their way out. I'll never forget, one of my clients quit Mike, and he said, this motherfucker's like Pastor Stewman now. You know, it's like, what kind of pastor drinks alcohol and fucking smokes and is in Vegas talking about some bullshit, Mr. Positive? You know, it's like, they were mad because I quit ranting and calling people out, you know, but if I kept doing that, I kept attracting those angry type of people. They were driving me fucking crazy. So if you know that you're worn out where you're at, you can evolve into something bigger, but it starts with having a real mission and core values that the people that you're going to attract in the future buy into, whether it's your employees, your customers, or both.
And like what I want to point out too, because I think this is a really big misconception, like missions and core values can change. They can evolve with you as a person. I see a lot of people get stuck in like, well, this is our core values. I'm like, do you represent those now? Not really. Then they need to fucking change, because if you're not representing them on a regular basis, that bleeds downhill, and everybody that's beneath you or anybody that's beside you is going to catch whatever it is you're representing. And you did a good job understanding what you wanted around you and who you were trying to be and represent, and put everything behind that next season of you. And it fucking worked gloriously. You know, I mean, it's amazing the quality of people. Like, you can't come to an Apex event and not feel it. Like,
everybody says as soon as they walk in the door their first time, they're like, man, something's up in this room.
And
even in our office, when they come to our office, they're like, as soon as I open the door, something's up in your spot, man.
Yeah, it's impossible to ignore. It's impossible to not see at this point, because you have so many champions such as myself out there talking about it and representing it. Like you said, it kind of that helps it's going to take 100 people to replace the Ryan Stewman brand to continue to grow it. And that's not a cocky statement. It's just true. Like, you're 10 years ahead of guys like me, and you've put out thousands of more in, influence and conversations and everything else. So, well, from the bottom of my heart, Ryan, I mean, I know you hear this a lot, but I appreciate you, and I'm thankful that, you kind of, and I've sent you these DMs before, but like, you stuck with it, because I'm going like the other end. Like, I'm going into year 3 of this. I'm like, holy fuck, he's lasted 13 years doing this same shit. I'm like, fucking thank God he did, or I wouldn't believe it's possible. Because I've been through my own shit, my own growth, and like scaling to, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 grand a month. It's a lot of fucking shit to deal with.
It is a lot.
And you've done it at a level, like you said, like no one's done it as long or as big as you've done it. People are trying, and they have their own individual cultures and personalities, but I'm very thankful that you've stuck it out and continued on the journey, because, it gives guys like me the ability to believe it's possible, and allows me to kind of push through maybe some situations I wouldn't have otherwise. So you can teach me everything in the world, but showing me what you've shown me is more important than anything else you've put out there. So I appreciate you.
I really do appreciate that. And I'll share a funny yet high note to end this thing on. Is everything works out for a reason, right? At the time you think something's a curse, man, all these fucking people are leaving me, and I'm gonna have to start all over and build this brand and change who I am and change my identity. What a fucking curse. Why couldn't I got this right the first time? But then you see that this thing's way bigger now. And damn, allergies are killing right now in Texas. And
it's everywhere.
Insane. But here's the thing. Those 2 dudes that caused all that disruption that made me change my mind and what I was going to do, right? They're literally both in federal prison right now. One of them for stealing real estate shit, and the other one for storming the Capitol and shooting a cop. I'm fucking shit you not. These 2 idiots could wind up being fucking cellmates, right? So I say that because first of all, it's fucking crazy that would be like these guys that were honest, good work, or not honest, but like good dudes, I thought at the time, just like totally fucking went left. And it just shows me, hey, getting rid of those people, that was the right fucking thing to do, because we've grown so much better, and we wouldn't be where we are now if we had those folks there. It's sad to say that shit, right? But it's true. Now you see we got guys like you and fucking Super Bowl champions and NBA MVPs and doctors and lawyers. Like, they're not going to show up with a bunch of people doing blow on the weekend, right? Maybe 1 or 2. There's always loose guys, not all of them,
No, I mean, the resounding representing what winning looks like at all time is absolutely planted. It is real. It is obvious. And yeah, it's really cool to be a part of it. So
well, congrats on 100, big dog.
Thanks, appreciate it, man. Keep it at 100 this one. Thank you for being here and sharing a little bit more about your story. I'm excited to see 2,500 come to life. I'm excited to be a part of it, kind of starting at the beginning where I am, and continue to evolve with you through this journey and continue to help people win on whatever level that means to them. So I really appreciate it. And everybody, please, I mean, if you don't know who Ryan Stewman is, follow him. If you're looking for a group of like-minded people to grow around, there's a price point for everybody in Apex. Like, if you're serious at all about getting yourself to the next level, there is a place for you in the Apex ecosystem. I started at the bottom, worked my way up. I am actually paid by Apex now to coach their top level people. I still pay to be there, but you know, it's for everybody. I mean, anybody who's interested in growing, evolving, you know, transforming, reinventing yourself, or just feeling alone in your little town, trying to figure out like, why do you feel so outdated, or how you feel so like an outcast and don't fit in, come look at Apex. Like, just look at it, talk to me, talk to other people. You know, if you've been listening to me for any period of time, you probably know a dozen people or so that are there. Stop dragging your feet, get involved, get to that next level, allow people like me and others to pour into you and show you what's possible for your life. Because I'll tell you, there isn't a single person who's taken Apex seriously that has not absolutely transformed generationally going forward. So thank you to Ryan.
Think about it. Like, I've seen this happen, man. Some, like right now, some of the biggest people in their respective industries, if not the biggest people in their respective industries, are in Apex. Prior to them coming, the other people were the biggest people in the industry, but then some of them left and they were replaced by other people in our network. So it's like no fucking coincidence that what we're doing takes people to the fucking top, because we've experimented to where people have left us and gone down, and people that have come in at a later time have passed them, man. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's cool to watch. But as always, everybody, rate, review, follow Ryan Stewman, follow Apex on Instagram, Facebook, all the places. And Ryan, I guess I'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you in a couple weeks, big dog.
Appreciate it, man.
Later.